Call to order the May 12th, 2026 work session board meeting of the Wayne County Board of Education. At this time, I will lead us in prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time that we can come together, Lord, and do the business of the school system. I pray, Lord, that you will protect our schools, protect all of our employees and all of our students. Pray, dear God, that you would guide us as a board. I pray that we would make wise decisions. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Mosley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yarborough?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes for the April 28th, 2026 monthly board meeting and the April 30th, 2026 called board meeting as presented?
So move.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Mosley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yarborough?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Recognitions.
Recognitions. So we typically don't have recognitions at our work sessions, but we had our retirement reception this afternoon at 4:30, and we wanted to do something a little bit different and recognize our retirees at a board meeting. So Dr. Burgess has a certificate for each of the retirees, so he will present those. So we're going to ask you all to stay up here for a group picture.
Yes, and I'm going to call these in alphabetical order. Some folks are here, or some are not, but we're going to call all the names and then present the certificates. First, we have Ms. Saran Aaron. Amy Adams. All the way in the front. Tammy Bibbins. Christy Brewer. Amy Broadhurst. Mary Elizabeth Chanel. Wendy Krieger. Krieger, I said that wrong. Krieger, excuse me, I knew that.
That's all right. I answered it both.
Mary Flowers. Jane Floyd. Mary Fry. Reagan Given. Who's responsible for the thermostat being turned back up, I'm certain.
Not far enough because it's freezing in here.
All right, Miss Annette Groover. Christy Hersey. Lynn Keith. Christine Paul. Mr. Jackie Peebles. Melissa Perkins. Melanie Sapp. Teresa Scarborough. Karen Smith, Sue Smith, and Shirley Thomas. They have a combined 800 years of, I'm kidding, not really. Thank you.
Congratulations.
We will now move on to our items of business, discussion, and information.
Our first item of business is capital outlay projects, and I have the updates for those. At the multipurpose facility, the bar joists are going on the roof, and they're planning to start the brickwork maybe the middle of next week. The ROTC facility, they're doing some interior work there, and hopefully we'll be painting soon. The ag facility, they're pouring the slab next week, and they will begin erecting the metal building the week of Memorial Day. And that metal building will take a little bit of time. It's not like a normal metal building that goes up in one day. It'll take a while. The only other item for capital outlay that I have is that we did receive notification today that we are going to receive in the next few weeks the final state funds for the middle school roofs. So that'll be a little bit over $1 million that we'll receive. Any questions on capital outlay?
That million is some we've already paid.
It's reimbursement, yes, sir. The next item on the agenda is the strategic plan, and we have Dr. Jana Collins, who will go over professional capacity.
All right, so we're going to talk about priority 4.1, which is climate and culture. The strategic initiative is to maintain and improve safe and supportive learning environments. The goal is that by 2028, the Wayne County school system will set clear expectations to maintain a safe and supportive learning environment in all of our schools. The system of improvement is maintaining order and safety, and our performance objective is to increase school safety. Our action step for this goal is to establish and implement a procedure for consistent enforcement of safety protocols. And our performance measures are that our expectations for a safe and orderly learning environment are enforced, and that we have a reduction in unsafe or disorderly incidents. So some of the different things that we have in place for this priority are our ID badges and Centegix badges, or our crisis alert system. So all of our staff are expected to have visible photo ID as well as their crisis alert badge. This year we upgraded that crisis alert system so that it matches with some of the state legislation as far as mapping. Multiple drills are included to include fire, severe weather, intruder drills, and also AED drills. We've installed access control systems on all of our school campuses, which require staff to use a badge to gain access into the building. And we're also in the process of recoring and rekeying all of our locks. A weapons detection system has been implemented at Wayne County High School, and we also plan to use them this year for graduation. So we've been working out the details of what that's going to look like at graduation, and we'll be releasing some information later this week regarding that. With your support, we're able to have a school resource officer on all of our campuses. We also have an anonymous reporting system for our students, and we have safety checks that our law enforcement as well as our school staff conduct on a regular basis. Are there any questions regarding this priority?
And I misspoke. She was covering climate and culture, section 4.1, not professional capacity. So we will get you a copy of that section of the strategic plan.
Could you share with everyone about Wayne County School System's safety committee?
The community committee?
Yeah, the safety committee.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
we had the meeting with this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
And who is composed of that?
Yes, so we have a community committee that involves school system representatives. We have a couple of board members on that committee, as well as both law enforcement agencies. We also have fire representatives, EMS, our EMA director, as well as our 911 dispatcher are present. And so we meet on a regular basis. Our city manager, Mr. Nick Ellis, is our group leader. We have a collaborative agenda that we plan together. And we meet on a regular basis. It's not necessarily every month. Sometimes it is monthly. It depends on the activities that are going on. And sometimes it's less often. It depends on our needs in our school system and community. So today we talked a lot about graduation and what that security is going to look like.
Ms. Collins, how often do you rekey the keys at the high school? So if somebody quits, do they still have access with their keys, or can they make a duplicate? Or how often do we change the locks at the high school? Yearly, quarterly, every 5 years, 10 years?
I don't know the last time it had been done, which was why we chose to do it the way we did it. So we added the access control first. And so those access control panels, our badges now are our keys from the exterior. And so we can turn the badge access on and off. They can turn mine off right now, and I won't be able to get into a school. So our staff no longer, once their building is rekeyed, they don't have a key to the exterior of the building any longer. Their badge is what allows them into the building.
Is that for all schools, including visitors coming into the school, where the doors are open at the front when they walk in?
Like unlocked at the front?
Yeah.
So some of our schools have installed a system to where you can't even go. Some of our elementary schools wanted it to where you can't walk into their front door. So like at the high school, you go into a lobby space when you
Right.
walk in, and you can't get beyond that space without somebody unlocking the door, which is a switch system behind the desk. And all of our schools are like that. Some of our schools, though, wanted to even block the exterior access, not in a negative way, but just in a protection, another layer of protection. So there you actually press a button and they ask you your name, ask you what it is that why you're coming on campus before you can even enter.
And those employees that have keys to the interior doors, once they resign, they're required to turn those
those.
keys into school administration.
Correct.
That's part of their
Is there
exit.
a timestamp on those logins that you have on yours that show when you enter and exit the school?
It does.
So if you log in at 6:50 and open that door at 6:50, it registers your badge and shows your name that you entered into that point?
Yes, sir. They're all personalized. We all have a personalized PIN number.
And how often do people check the doors to make sure nobody's propped a doormat under it and letting other people in, like in the gymnasium and around those places,
We
particularly
also-
during basketball season?
Yes, sir. We also have alarms on our doors now. When we installed the access control, we also installed a system that notifies our administrators if a door is propped.
Good, thank you, ma'am.
We had to make some adjustments to that when we first installed them. I think they were all ready to come find me, because when classes would change or the start of the day, they were getting tons of alerts when, it was heavy traffic. So we have had to make some adjustments there.
Do we have a cost on that, on how much it cost?
We did use a state grant that we received at one of our safety security grants, but we would have to look up the cost.
Okay, so it came from a grant.
It did.
Okay.
I'm glad we have it.
Any other
I'm
questions?
glad we have it, because to me, and it's cliche, there's no cost to, there's too much to, provide safety for our kids. We feel like in our community that we're immune to some of the things that are going on, but we never know when or what something could happen. I pray that we never have to face any of the challenges that some of the other school systems have faced. But you just don't ever know in this climate with the way kids are looking at things on TikTok and wanting to copy and duplicate things. So I appreciate us taking those steps to make sure that our children are safe as well as our staff are safe.
Yes,
Can't
ma'am.
say enough about that.
There were lots of former employees that still had keys to our building, so that has helped tremendously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have our Director of Special Education, Miss Anna Rozier, and she is going to give us a special education update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, good evening. I'd like to take a few moments to share an update on the status of our special education program in Wayne County. In your packets, you'll find the following information: the compliance indicator rating letter, along with the associated determination chart, the disproportionality determination letter, along with the associated determination chart, and the technical document that indicates how those determinations were made in that order. So I'm pleased to report that the Wayne County School District received a meets requirement determination with a score of 100%. That's that first letter in your packet with that determination chart from the Georgia Department of Education. This designation reflects that we're meeting federal and state requirements related to special education. We've maintained a 90% or above since 2016 on this indicator, with most years being at 100%. While compliance does not mean that every experience is perfect, it does indicate that there are required systems and safeguards in place. In practical terms, this means we're identifying students with disabilities in a timely manner, completing evaluations within required timelines, and working to ensure services are delivered and documented appropriately. The district also demonstrated full compliance in areas such as early childhood transitions, post-secondary transition planning, and data accuracy. Additionally, the district had no findings related to disproportionality in identification or discipline. This is one indicator that we monitor as part of our commitment to equitable practices and fair processes for all students. From a fiscal standpoint, the district also met maintenance of effort requirements that confirms we're appropriately funding and sustaining our special education program. We recognize that compliance scores alone do not define a family's experience, and we remain committed to strong communication and collaboration with parents. While our program has been recognized as meeting state and federal requirements, there have been times when families have asked us to look closer at specific procedures. Those conversations are valuable to us because they help us reflect and make adjustments when needed and continue improving our systems for support of our students. One example involved transportation concerns brought to our attention earlier this year. In response, we have reviewed and adjusted transportation protocols to better align with instructional access and meeting student needs. As a department, we remain focused on continuous improvement. One area we're monitoring is literacy performance for students with disabilities. While this indicator is currently informational only and does not impact the district's overall rating, we're proactively strengthening supports through targeted intervention, professional learning for teachers, and ongoing use of student data to guide instruction. Overall, this determination reflects strong systems and a solid foundation for continued growth, and I want to recognize the hard work of our teachers, administrators, and support staff who make this possible every day. Are there any questions at this time? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rozier. The next item on the agenda, State and Wayne County Board Norms and Protocols. Ms. Daniel asked that this item be placed on the agenda, so I'm going to see what questions she has regarding that.
Well, I want to start off with reading Board Policy BCBK Executive Session. It says all Board of Education meetings as defined in the Openings Meetings Act of Georgia, the Act, shall be conducted in accordance with the Act. When any board meeting is closed to the public pursuant to the Act, each board member attending the meeting shall execute a notarized affidavit stating under oath that the subject matter of the meeting or the closed portion thereof was devoted to matters within the exceptions provided by law, and identifying the specific relevant exception. This affidavit shall be filed with the official minutes of the meeting. Also, it is executive session, and all things spoken in executive session are supposed to remain behind closed doors or within us. I had an interview, and in that interview, I was questioned about something that was supposedly had been said during executive session. And the interviewer actually stated to me that his source was a school board member, and that his source said that whatever the statement was happened in executive session. As we know, that is a violation of both our board policy as well as of the state policy. I'm reading from Local School Board Governance Code BBB, and it is from section, a second please, from section 6, sanctioning members of local boards of education. And one of the things that it tells us in section 7 of that, disclosure or discuss, what a board member should not do, or shall not do, is disclose or discuss any information which is subject to attorney-client privilege belonging to the local board of education to any person other than other board members, the board attorney, the local school superintendent, or persons designated by the local school superintendent for such purposes unless such privilege has been waived by a majority vote of the whole board. I bring this stuff up because one of the things that we have to do as a board, we have to work together as a board. And in order to work together as a board, you've got to be able to trust each other. Now, I'm not saying that you got to hold anything back, or you've got to, how you want to say it, you've got to pretend about anything. No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we're all professionals up here in this position. And we should not have to, any of us, go out in public and say that someone has said something to them that was said in private and confident. And I'm not gonna ask, but I'm gonna ask the general public to think about if your boss, okay, your boss was going around town talking about you, how would you think about that? Do you think that would be very professional? I'm sure you would not. But we're beyond that because we took an oath of office. And because of that oath of office, we have to be transparent, and we were supposed to honor that oath of office. Because when you do things like that, it causes a lot of disturbance among what you're trying to do, okay? It breaks down what we're trying to accomplish as a team. And we're supposed to be a team here. And when you're a team, I know when I was a member of a team, you talked about my teammate, didn't even like her, but you weren't gonna talk about my teammate. You were not gonna do that. And we have to be mature here and understand that everybody that stands beside you is not standing for you. You better think about that. Ooh, I sound like my mom, I'm getting old. But everybody that stands beside you is not standing for you, and they're not standing with you. Because when everything comes down, if the state was to come down on us, it's gonna be us
That's right.
and nobody else. And so what I'm asking this board to do from this time and this day forward, based on what the oath that we took, is for us to honor our oath that we took. That's all I'm asking. And there are things in here, and I'm not gonna go through and read the rest of it, that there are also consequences that can be taken for that. I don't wanna sit here and have a hearing in front of, because that's what a hearing happens. It's not happening behind closed doors. The hearing will happen in front of the general public, in front of our constituents. If someone is brought before the board because we're out talking about things that we shouldn't be talking about, that should not be disclosed. Anybody got anything to say?
I support it 100%.
Yeah, there's also a section in here that I think needs to be addressed with Ms. Daniels, as she said. It says designate the board chair as an official spokesperson for the board when it pertains to the matter of the board. So, in other words, if Ms. Mosley is designated as the chair board, and she addresses a legal issue. That is her job description, to where it doesn't need to be put out by several board members that can be pertained to a legal action, that I think once she addresses it, that we need to allow her to do her job correctly. Is that correct, Ms. Mosley?
That is correct. You are correct on that, but we also have the right to reach out to our attorney, especially if our board chair is not around. Each one of us has the right to pick up the phone and call our attorney.
Yeah.
We do have that right.
I agree.
If we have a question and we want to make sure that we get the answer directly from that attorney, we have the right to pick up the phone and call them.
I agree.
I've talked with Georgia School Board Association, I've talked with the state board about it and what my rights are, and that is what I was told, that I have that right to pick up the phone and call our attorney and ask him questions.
Well, first of all, that had nothing to do with the attorney. I was talking about if somebody sends out an email that the board needs to address, it goes to the chair board to respond. I mean, I don't care if you call the attorney or not, that has nothing to do with calling an attorney. Once she responds in a direct text message about the problem and how it has been handled, then I don't need to respond to it. I'm done. I mean, there's no format that I need to once she addresses the issues. All I'm saying, you can call attorney, anybody can call an attorney.
In here, it says that if there is a problem, I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but if there's a problem between two board members, it does state that the first, that's in our norms and protocols, is that we're to talk to each other first.
No, I'm not talking about.
That's not what you're referring to? Okay.
And I'll talk about it further with you. I'm talking about, like, hypothetically, if something comes down from a concerned constituent.
Okay.
And it says, I'm requesting A, B, and C. It goes to Ms. Williams. Ms. Williams says, okay, here's what's happening. Please don't respond. Ms. Mosley, just generically make a response. We're
Oh,
handling it.
yeah, I did that.
No, I'm not even
No,
asking.
but
I'm just saying.
I know what I did. I did that, and I talked to Miss Mosley about it. I apologize to Miss Mosley for stepping out of line. I'm a person that when I make a mistake, I can admit that I made that mistake.
So what I'm asking is, do you have a right as a board, even though she responds, do we have a right, like, can I respond to it, or is that strictly in her area? Do I have a right to say anything as well, or is it strictly on her once she says that our right is over?
Honestly, our right, the way I understand it, our right really is not over.
Okay.
But respectfully, what we decided to do, I should have stepped back and waited. I should have stepped back and waited, not said anything, because she had handled it, and I said something, and thought I was being good, and it is what it is, but that is the way that we have to decide as a group, as a team, what we're gonna do, how we're gonna handle those things.
I agree.
And if we're gonna agree to say, okay, in this situation, Ms. Moses is gonna handle that, and Ms. Mosley is gonna handle that, and we're not gonna respond.
Okay, I'm good with that.
And that's our Wayne County School District norms and protocols that's outlined in. And so they're different for every school district.
Right,
But we
right.
did choose to make the chair the spokesperson for the
spokesperson,
board.
right. But there are times that we do have our constituents that will reach out to us, and sometimes they will only reach out to the individual. And basically, the way I handle that, in most cases, if it's a situation that needs to go to Ms. Williams, I let Ms. Williams know. Now, if a situation continues and it goes to Ms. Williams and the individual is not, talking about chain of command, the individual is still not satisfied with what Ms. Williams has told them, then they can come back to the board at that time and we can discuss among each other if, anything needs to be done, further beyond that. If it's within our wheelhouse, our rights and obligations to be able to do that as a board member.
Your
A lot of
your
people
roles
think
and
that
responsibilities.
that we can fire teachers or we can fire coaches. We don't have that right as a board member. But a lot of people are confused with that we don't have that right. That is the right of the superintendent. Now, if the superintendent brings us a name and we don't agree with it, we have that right to not approve that person. That's what our job is.
And clarification on one thing, Ms. Daniels or Ms. Williams or anybody in the board meeting sitting up here. In a board meeting, are you collectively supposed to have somebody that is secretary making notes inside that meeting that you sign afterwards? And then it goes to your documentation?
In executive session?
Yes.
Yes,
Is there-
sir.
Who's
Yes,
the
sir.
note taker
I'm the
in there?
secretary in executive session.
Secretary.
Have we signed, do we sign
You
your notes
sign,
that you're
you
taking?
you sign the affidavit every time we go back there.
Before we review your notes, though, is that correct? You pass, never mind, I'm not gonna get into that, but you're the secretary, so should we review everything you wrote down before we sign something?
You sign an affidavit stating what by law can be discussed, and that's what you will discuss while we're back there, and that it will be kept confidential. That's the affidavit that you sign. We can only discuss certain things in
Right.
executive session.
But the notes you partake, do we have access to see what you're?
I can present those to you. They're all
before
kept,
we
they're all
sign
kept in my.
anything? So that way we
The
can agree
affidavit
with
doesn't
the
have
notes.
anything to do with the minutes.
Accuracy of the notes, right.
It's the accuracy of the notes.
Right. Those are in my office.
Right. The affidavit is just saying that we're only speaking about what is on that list of things that we can speak about in executive session.
So that.
And the minutes kept in executive session are not subject to open records.
Unless
So
it's the
myself and the board
in-camera.
members are the only ones that have access to
Unless the
that.
judge has it in camera, then he has access to it. That's a court document.
And
The judge has a right to subpoena any records.
I would have to check on the legality of a subpoena for executive session minutes.
I checked on it
I know
with our
that-
attorney, and that is true.
I know that they're not subject to open records.
Right. Okay, all right, that's what I just wanted to see if we had a note taker and everything is being discussed. That works out. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I say something, please?
Yes, sir.
Y'all see how aggravating this is? Like, I'm not talking to just people in this room, I'm talking to people on the camera. Like, do y'all know how hard it is to be told what you can and can't do by people who don't live here? We don't make these rules, but we have to follow them. It's the hardest thing to do when you sit up here and you try to make positive impacts on people that aren't in control of any of the decisions. They can't help it. It is so hard to go and I would rather talk about everything right here. And I think most of us would, but we don't make the rules.
Yeah.
So then when you try to do the right thing in there and you come out here and all right, the meeting's over, and then all of a sudden you get bombarded with this fake news and oh, well, so-and-so said this, so-and-so said that. Okay. So then you just have to sit there and swallow the fact that, wow, really? Like after all we've been through,
Yep.
day after day, getting punched in the mouth, ducking and weaving, then we get in our own way once again with some more fabricated bullcrap. And it's so aggravating because, God Almighty, we're not in control of what people think, but we're not in control of what we can talk about either.
That's right.
So if you have malicious intent and thought, keep it to yourself.
There you go.
If you don't want to discuss something positive for the future of this community, please exit the room. Exit the chat. Get off social media. Whatever you think you're doing is not positive for these kids, so shut your mouth.
There you go.
If you think that's confrontational, I'm sorry, I'm fed up with it. Like, y'all don't know how bad this affects people's mental health, having to deal with bull crap that you don't bring into your own family and your own life.
That's right.
But you try to do what's right. And I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and keep having to listen to the same things over and over. I got a microphone, people, and I don't know nobody nothing, and I ain't scared to say your name out loud. Do what's right for these kids,
There you go.
or get off the track so you're going to get hit by the trains, all I got to tell you. I'm fed up with it. This ain't a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's going to take every single one of us, okay?
That's right.
If you don't like it, that's fine. Get somebody else to sit in this chair. It was open when I sat in it. I ain't doing this for no recognition. I'm doing it for the babies.
There you go.
Right? If you don't like it, oh well. Vote for somebody else. Please, let's move on.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.
I want to thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to express that, and everybody for giving their input. I just felt like that we needed to have that dialogue.
Yes, thank you,
Yeah, we need to have that dialogue.
thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the 5-year facility plan. And that could have probably been included in capital outlay, but I wanted to bring it out separately. We do have a 5-year facility plan. We did recently update it. We have to update it once a year. Typically, we just say no changes. So I contacted our Department of Education Facilities representative. Since we recently updated that, typically, we don't put any locally funded projects on our 5-year facility plan because it's a DOE, a Department of Education document. However, she said we do have the right to include any locally funded, and that means there's no state participation, no state funds. So when we are up to renew that again, we will add the items that we plan to use on our next eSPLOS. We'll add that to that 5-year facility plan.
And we are gonna do a 5-year maintenance plan.
We are. We have that in the works. We do. We've been advertising for an HVAC position, and we think we may have someone that's interested in coming to work for us in that position. And we really need their input on all of our HVAC units to start that 5-year plan. But we do have a plan for that. Yes, ma'am. Any?
At what point would you like for me to discuss what you emailed out to all of us? So I can put
When we
it-
get down to the budget.
When we get down to the budget? Okay.
The next item of business is board policies, and Dr. Jana Collins has several policies to review tonight.
All right. A lot of these tonight are either up for 5-year review or they are sample policies and revisions that GSBA suggested. So we'll go through them one by one and y'all just stop me if you have any questions. And tonight's the first reading, so we're not taking any action. This is just for your review tonight. So the first one is policy BCBI regarding public participation in board meetings. So right now we have a policy and a regulation. So the sample from GSBA puts it all together into the policy. So tonight, what we're looking at is the revised edition from GSBA with their suggestions. I do want to point out a couple of things for us to talk about. So currently, our procedure is that you have to just sign up right before a board meeting. When the board meeting starts is when we take the sign-up sheet and turn it in. The policy recommended, the sample policy that GSBA provided, recommended that sign up for non-agenda items be done at least 24 hours in advance of the meeting, and sign up for agenda-related items be done at least 15 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. Another suggested change was currently we have where participants can, their comments can be up to 5 minutes with a max, if we have multiple people, with a max of 30 minutes of participation. So if we had 10 people sign up to participate, it'd be our chair's option to reduce their time to 3 minutes. But they can speak up to 5 minutes. The policy from GSBA does not mention that 30-minute max. What it does mention is that participants would only have 3 minutes to speak. So those are some changes in this sample that I did want to point out to you all to let me know if you want to proceed with the sample from them or if we want to stay with the procedures that we currently have in place.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
I kind of like the 5 minutes. We rarely have had anyone to go over those 5 minutes, and usually when Ms. Mosley tells them they have 1 more minute, they wrap it up. I don't feel like our community has a problem with that. I'm not sure about changing them signing up before. Do we have any problems with them signing up the 15 minutes before, or does everybody prefer them to sign up the day before?
I think the suggestion from GSBA was for the non-agenda related items so that we would have the opportunity to pull information and
Okay.
in the event that the board members had questions
Right.
about that topic, that I would be able to provide you with documentation about the topic that they were going to discuss.
Unlike some agencies, they're not gonna be denied, to speak about what they're gonna speak about. They will just have to tell you ahead of time.
24 hours,
24
the day
hours
before.
ahead of time,
Mhm.
so that you can,
Right.
research some things for it.
And we would develop a process for them signing up,
Okay.
either online or stopping by the board office to do
Okay,
that.
yeah, I just don't want it to where that, they gotta call you and, because I'm just, not you would do this, but you would say, I don't think you need to talk about
Oh,
this.
no,
or whatever, you
no.
know.
We'll develop probably some type of online registration as well as at the board office in person.
Okay, so how would you handle a situation where if a person does come and sign up, and they sign up for something that is a non-agenda item? How will we know when they sign up the 15 minutes before? You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
I
would,
could show up today and come to sign up to talk about softball, but softball is not an agenda item. You follow what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, but I don't write what I'm, are we gonna ask them to write down what they're gonna talk about?
Yes, we would have to go in with this method. We would have to find out what their non-agenda topic would be, and then if they're signing up the night of the meeting, they would have to tell, like, what agenda item. We keep the sign-up sheet back there beside the agendas, and so they would just have to tell us which item.
So if we do that, are we gonna, provide them an answer, here at the board meeting that night, if we do it that way?
Well,
I would
we would
expect-
have public participation before
Right.
we went through any of the agenda items. So
Uh-huh.
whatever their concern was, it's possible that we would answer that question when we get to that agenda item.
Okay.
So. Again,
And
this is
this is-
GSBA's recommendation.
Right, and this is the first reading, the first time we're looking at it, so this is
I
still.
just want it where the public is able to still be able to speak freely.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I don't wanna handcuff our
Yep.
constituents in
Right.
any way.
yep. All right, so are 5 minutes, though? Is that
I
an
think
agree?
that's-
I know we're
think
not
if you
taking a
don't- I
vote,
don't
but I
think if
can
you-
go,
I think if you don't put a time limit like that on there,
Yeah,
you can wind up being here forever sometimes.
yeah, I think 5 minutes is still,
If I remember right, it was 5 minutes per person with a total of 30 minutes. Is
Up
that
to
right?
30
Up to
minutes.
30 total of 30 minutes for the whole session.
Now, that's not specified in this new policy. Do you want that added, that
I
no
think it
more
should
than
be,
30
yes.
minutes total?
I
So
think
keep
it
that.
should be.
Yeah.
okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. So with this, like I mentioned, right now we have BCBI, the policy, and we have BCBI, the regulation. So we would ultimately be rescinding the regulation, and everything that's currently in the regulation, GSBA has recommended that it's all in the policy now. Okay? So that takes care of BCBI and BCBI R1. Next, we have policy EEE as well as EEE R1. So,
Which one was it again?
really? The next one in your stack, I hope. They should be in ABC order, according to Ms. Nicole. So for EEE, we're reviewing both policy and the regulation. For the policy, the suggested revisions only include just some minor wording changes, nothing major there. For the regulation, Ms. McDaniel met with a committee that included representatives from our schools to revise our specific goals related to nutrition promotion and nutrition education. And so you see those recommendations on the regulation, so EEE R1. Any questions on that one? Next is policy GAD regarding professional learning opportunities. This one is up for 5-year review. Again, just some minor tweaks in the wording. No changes to the meaning or anything like that. Next is policy GANA regarding infectious diseases. This one is up for 5-year review only. There are no suggested changes. Ms. Armstrong reviewed this as well as the Department of Public Health, and there were no suggested changes. It is just up for 5-year review. Then we have policy GBC regarding professional personnel recruitment. Again, this one is up for 5-year review. And there are a couple of wording changes, no changes to the meeting or the content. Policy IDE, mine are out of order. I said yours should be in order, and mine aren't. IDE 3 is up for 5-year review. And that one I had our athletic director review just to make sure there were no suggested changes there. There was no suggestions from GSBA.
Got a question though.
Okay.
When it comes to our middle school, I see it says each middle and high school principal will regulate competitive interscholastic activities in his or her school. But we have 2 middle schools and 1 team per middle school.
Mm-hmm.
So how would that apply to this policy?
So the principals still assist though, like they're still supporting. I can check with the wording with that with Coach McDonald. As I said, he reviewed this. I'll double check though and make sure to see if we need to make any changes since it's combined now.
Right, okay.
Make a note. All right, next is IFBG. If you all remember, we actually reviewed this policy earlier this year, but GSBA released some additional guidance, and so their sample policy is on the top highlighted in yellow, and our old policy is marked out underneath it. A lot of it is the same. The layout was different, like we had bullets and they had numbers. It made more sense instead of chopping up our old one and having a bunch of strikeout, then color. I just copied over their sample policy because it's exactly what they were recommending. For policy IHE regarding promotion and retention, this one is up for 5-year review. Policy IHF 6 for graduation requirements. Our high school staff reviewed this policy for us. There's some tweaks in wording just where we no longer refer to it as 9th grade literature, now lit comp. So we made the wording match how we refer to it so it more closely matches. It was up for 5-year review, but we made those revisions. And then policy JCDAG regarding bullying. These recommendations were also from GSBA. Just some additions. They added some additional suggestions as far as requirements for us to follow regarding acts of bullying.
And I won't ask you to do it today, but maybe the next time that we have the second reading of this, kind of explain to folks that the state of Georgia actually has a bullying policy. Sure. And some of the procedures and the steps that an administrator has to take prior to administering a consequence to a child is based upon that policy. And it's accessible to anybody, but you wouldn't believe that they have to take certain steps. I think it's 3 times before it's considered bullying by a student, before an administrator really can do anything, and it's not our policy. Trust me.
Okay, I'll bring that.
Like they,
Yes, ma'am.
no, we don't play that.
No, ma'am.
All right, thank y'all.
Our next agenda item is financial management, and we have Dr. Kimberly Harrison who's going to go over a summary of the FY '27 budget. You should have a one-page document in your folder regarding that.
All right, so I know we've discussed the budget and the processes that we've taken place, working with schools and departments, fine-tuning, looking at different line items, and so now I'm excited to be able to present you some numbers. And so what you're looking at is just the general fund expenditures. The first column is our FY '26 budget. I wanted you to have that in reference as we go through this document. That is everything that we've budgeted for all of our departments, from instruction down to media, administration, and school, other support services, and then our school nutrition program that we got from the state. That was this year. The middle column is our year-to-date, as of today, what our expenditures are. And you see that we still have some expenditures, we still have several months to go, and then also in the summer, we have to accrue salaries, so we have to accrue July and August, even though they're not in our fiscal year. So don't be alarming that we budgeted 44 million for instruction, and we're currently sitting at 30. We will get close to that 44 number, okay? And so based on that, and looking at our trends, and looking at what we have budgeted in our system, these are the preliminary numbers for FY '27. And I'll give you just a few minutes to review that. There's still some, yeah, go ahead.
So if our year-to-date, if the total gets up to 40, how does our budgeting system use that extra 4 million? Like, does it roll over to next year automatically?
It goes into fund balance, but it's, the difference is actually the difference between your revenues and expenditures. When it comes to the end of the year, the difference between your revenues and expenditures at year end either increases or decreases your fund balance, which is basically our savings account.
While we always want to go under, yes, that will go like into our savings, our fund balance.
I have a question also. It's looking at maintenance and operations. Is that the,
Okay.
does that include salaries?
That
It
is our,
does.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
But yes.
Go ahead.
That's our entire maintenance and operations department.
Okay.
So all of the expenditures, everything related to that department. Now, you'll see that it's very large right there as far as year-to-date. We still have another GSBA insurance claim that we're going to do for some of the projects that we have. We've already done 2, but we're about to do the final one to get the money from the state. And so once that's done, we'll adjust.
So we did amend the FY '26 budget for the amount of those insurance claims. You know, we had some HVAC issues at a couple of the schools and some other things that were covered by GSBA insurance. And so that it would not look like we were going way over budget, we did a budget amendment for that, and it fell under maintenance. So the 6.8 million that you're seeing under FY '26 is not the typical maintenance budget for a year. That includes the items that we had to pay and then be reimbursed for those insurance claims. So we're not decreasing that budget by 1.8 million.
Well, I'm also asking, because I was reading Facebook, and there was a statement made by one of my Facebook friends, and their concern is about the maintenance department not being able to work games other than the football games, and said that because of overtime. And we deal with budget, so I'm just trying to figure out why, especially if it's not a whole lot of money, why is it that we cannot let those people do what they've been doing for 22, 23 years in some cases, and it has been a been very beneficial to our school system. It's been beneficial to our coaches, to our athletes, and I just don't feel like that's one of the things that we should be looking at cutting right now. There have been times that the lights have turned off on the football field in one of our maintenance groups there, and they've taken care of that. They know the glitch to, what they need to go do to, correct that. And so I just feel like that is something that needs to be looked at again. Our community feels very strong about it. When I say very strong about it, very strong about it. And so if they're okay with that, I think we as a board should be okay with that. These are not people that are sitting at the house waiting on a call to come out here. They're out here. We see them. They're out here. They're at the baseball game. They're at the softball game. They're at the soccer game and may get called over to the track, to go do something at the track, and then they're back. They're back and forth. They're constantly moving. And so we're not talking about somebody that we're just giving something to. We're not talking about somebody that is stealing time. We're talking about somebody's working. Y'all, this generation coming up now, you got some that are hard workers, but this generation coming up now, they're not looking at working real hard. You better check it out. They're not looking at working real hard, okay? It takes a whole lot to find somebody to come and cut your grass. I know Big Brother Tyrone, you call me if I called you, but I know you would. But see, he's in our generation. He come in a heartbeat.
So I'll address that, Ms. Daniel, because that information was really misconstrued.
Okay.
We have been taking a closer look at overtime. We have spent year-to-date almost $260,000 in overtime for our school district.
This
In the
year?
past 5, yes, sir, this year. In the past 5 years, that amount has doubled. And in the past 5 years, we've spent $1.1 million in overtime. So the statement was that we're going to take a closer look at overtime, and we're probably going to have to scale back on it some. But we have not told any employee that they're not going to get paid overtime, nor that they can't work over to get their job done. That has not happened.
But is it true that they're not gonna be able to work the games like a softball game? I was told that the only games that they were talking about working were the football games.
No, ma'am, that's not true.
So that's not true.
That's not accurate. No,
That is
ma'am.
not accurate.
No, ma'am.
So we're gonna still have somebody cover those games.
We have told them that there will be some of the sports that we will ask them to go set up, make sure the fields are ready. And then if there's an event that happens, that some of the sports that have a smaller crowd, then we would call one of our maintenance guys to come in if there's an issue.
It's just so much better if you got somebody there, because I might be gone. I mean, you know what I'm saying? They may not come.
Well, again, we're
So
We're taxed with doing the best for the students as well as the taxpayers. And to me, as of the end of April, $260,000 in overtime is a little bit in excess of what we should be
So
spending.
is that the maintenance department? where
It's
that's
not
coming
all
from?
the maintenance department. Some of it is bus drivers as well.
Okay, 'cause
And that's an
rolling-
issue because we have a shortage of bus
Yeah,
drivers.
but you're rolling
So-
that in, and everything with the same thing. So it makes it look like that the maintenance department has had $260,000 in overtime.
The district
And-
has
yeah.
had $260,000.
Right. Yeah, and that's not the case. So I just think that we need to really, really look at that. And, I've coached, and I'm telling you, there's something, if you're in the middle of a ball game and something happens, and, you gotta wait for somebody to come from Scriven, or you gotta wait for somebody to come from Oakland, wherever, because not all of them live in town.
Well, and we all know the age of all of our facilities.
Facilities, yeah.
And some of our sports have double headers, so that's double the amount of concessions, trash, bathroom, traffic. I mean, the whole nine. Most of our, football's the only one that won't have a double header. But
Yeah, because they make sure that the grounds are clean, which is very, good for us during, like you say, if you got a JV baseball game and then a varsity baseball game. Make sure the trash is empty.
And the caveat of
And he works the concession stand.
what Ms. Daniels and Ms. Giarba said, that is why I sent out that email on the budget about 2020 to 2026. I wanted to see where we stood in the difference. And Ms. Williams kept me, what is 26.47? Do we have a .47 person?
We have some 49% employees.
Okay, so that's where the 47, if you add multiple ones together, we
Yes,
get
sir.
that. All right, so in 2020, our budget was $1,552,671 for 21.98 employees. In 2026, we have 26.47 employees, and the budget is $1,999,741.50, which is a $440,000 increase. But you walked me through some of the things that I'm not real clear about. So if you want to explain them in detail, why we're up $440,000. But the biggest caveat I want to come right here is we don't have 51 employees at our board office.
We do not. We
And
do.
This is like part-time,
These
full-time,
employees,
everything.
these employees are board office, district-level directors, and their clerical staff or assistant directors. There are people that are housed at the board office, but they work in the schools. They just need a desk to come to at the end of the day, and there was no room in the schools, so we made room for them at the board office. But they're not considered board office employees.
And we don't have part-time employees there, do we?
We do have some 49% employees. But the note that I sent in the email was in regards to the raises that the governor has given to employees. The teacher pay scale has increased by $6,500
Per person.
per person during that time. So those people have received that increase, plus the board voted to increase the local supplement. So part of this increase is due to raises for employees. Part of this increase is due to the fact that more employees have been added to the district level. But also, the same employees that were here in 2020 are not here now. So you may have had somebody that had a master's degree in 2020, but the person that took their place has a doctorate degree, so their salary's higher.
So their salary's
So
higher.
you're not necessarily comparing apples to apples, but because you may have had somebody in 2020 that made $90,000 a year, and now.
And that's what I needed, is clarification on that, because I know there's so many steps on what we involve. And when somebody looks at the budget increasing by $400,000 or $500,000 or $1 million in a 4-year span,
Right.
we need to understand that. But the caveat of Ms. Daniels, and I don't care what we do, our maintenance people are hardworking people. I mean, God bless them. And I'm not saying that you're doing something wrong with it. What I'm saying is, there's not an event I have not been to that our maintenance people are not there. It can be from scrubbing a toilet, clogging a toilet, to changing a lawnmower tire, to grilling a pork chop sandwich, to changing a light bulb. I know this is a very delicate situation, but by God, we got some phenomenal maintenance people, and I hope and I pray that we find a way to keep them where we can for the job that they do, because they're irreplaceable. These guys, I mean, they're just irreplaceable. Their work ethics and everything they do is just off the chain, and they're always doing it with a smile. I never see them yet.
No one has questioned their work ethic or said that we don't appreciate them, but I was hired to get the finances in order, and when I see this much overtime, that's one area that appears that it could be cut. So that was my goal, was to be fiscally responsible.
Now, what would be my question on that is, I know overtime, is adding up.
We can't budget for it because we can't predict
Right,
it.
but this is my question on it, especially your bus drivers. Wouldn't it be more if you hired another body instead of that person getting overtime?
It would be if we could find
It
them.
would cost substantially more with benefits and all that if you hired another person. We would love to hire another person. Anybody want to come drive our children, because that's precious cargo and they're going to be taking care of you when you get older. We need bus drivers, y'all. But you understand what I'm saying? So it doesn't add up to me when you've got a body that is doing the job of maybe 2 people.
Right. Our maintenance staff and our transportation staff are both shorthanded. They are.
Yes.
So we do realize that our employees are working a lot of hours to get the job done.
In fact, when I was teaching, I was told, because I questioned an older maintenance director, they said they used to have 12 people on staff, and I think they've got 4 now to do what 12 people used to do.
What
We're having to contract out a lot of our work.
well, you said it's hard to budget for it because you can't predict it. That's the same with, you can't predict if you need people there or not, because you can't predict if something's gonna go wrong.
Right.
but on this other uses on the budget, we budgeted $100,000. Year to date, we've only spent $122.
That is the transfer that we do to pre-K every year because pre-K is not self-sustainable. So at the end of the fiscal year, when we look at the pre-K revenues and the pre-K expenditures, we make a transfer, and that transfer is not done until June 30th at the end of the fiscal
So,
year.
are you saying we can't predict pre-K, how much we're gonna spend on it?
Yeah, we're predicting that the general fund is gonna have to supplement the pre-K budget by $100,000.
And that's because if I'm right, pre-K teachers are only allocated by the state for half a day, am I right?
No, ma'am.
Are they full-time?
Yes,
they fully
ma'am,
fund them
but
now?
they give us $1,000 per classroom, and so there are other things that go into their budget that are considered local expenditures.
And they're
So
federal.
so they're not fully funded as far as
They're
their
not
salary.
completely fully funded in any school district in Georgia that I'm aware of.
And that's what I
There's
think that's what-
typically a transfer from the general fund into pre-K.
Right,
Mhm.
okay.
Would it be easier to create a separate entity
Yeah.
for the sporting maintenance instead of just the everyday maintenance groundskeeping? Like, just so we would be able to see how much it's costing us?
We
Or
we
you
did
would be able to
create
say-
last year an athletic department budget, and we could start charging their overtime to that so that we could see the difference, because right now, all of their overtime comes out of the maintenance department. So,
So let me ask you this, like where Mr. Yarber talked about other uses, like $100,000, that's what you have budgeted to pre-K, is that correct?
yes, sir.
Could we, and I don't know this, I'm not a CPA, so could you put an additional line in there that says overtime, let's say for maintenance, $50,000 per year? That's what we're projecting. If they go over that, they don't get it, but if they go under that, it rolls back over to the general fund. Could we not just
We could
put-
definitely use historical data to predict what the overtime is gonna be, and then once they get to that point,
Then I
you
said,
know.
You can do that.
okay.
There have been superintendents in the past that required them to take flex time or comp time instead of being paid for it. And I think that's the reason that that overtime amount has doubled in the past several years, is because they're being paid for it now instead of taking comp time.
I think that probably started about 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
What's that called?
Taking comp time away and paying overtime instead of.
Yeah.
Yeah, comp time
If I
and pay
remember right.
bills.
Yeah, if I remember right.
Just want to be able to use comp time for family, right? I know I want to use my
Comp-
vacation time at work for my family.
Comp time to me is whatever you want to do with it. To me, I mean, that's just my understanding of what comp time would be.
Well, cleanliness and functionality and all that at all of our facilities, I mean, that's part of safety. I mean, that's obvious in the community right now. And I mean, if there's something, a handrail was to break at the football field, we all know how fancy they are, and then. that was a
Come on
joke.
now.
That was a joke.
Come on now, the Wellman
Or-
class
or-
built them.
Or, you know what I mean, a sprinkler head come up in the middle of a soccer game, or trash cans get full. I mean, it's a morale kind of thing. I mean, the kids take pride in their locker, you know, I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say, because I'm not good at it. But
Again, the perception was that we were doing away with it completely,
Yeah.
and that's not
Okay.
accurate.
10-4.
Yeah.
We can definitely track historical data and add that in. And,
So we're gonna come up with
Make
a
sure.
plan.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, and so you have those in there, and keep in mind that some of these may tweak here and there. We're still, putting some positions in. One of the things that I know you guys are all aware about is the literacy coaches that we have for next year in our elementary schools. We have one at each elementary, and then a full-time person that will be doing half-time literacy coach at Scriven. Those we had to put in the budget. Those 5 positions alone are about $556,000. We will be getting some QBE money from that. We don't have our allotment sheet yet. Hopefully by the next board meeting, we'll have the allotment sheet that gives us what we're going to have in QBE, operating, local fair share, equalization, T&E, all that, so we can present the revenue portion to you. But that'll be coming. Keep in mind, we also increased some of our salaries from, and I'm going to read them again, our parapros, bus drivers, migrant support specialists, truancy officer, and several of our clerical staff at the board office, the special education secretary, Title I pre-K secretary, MTSS secretary, and our speech Medicaid billing secretary. That alone was a little over $440,000. This year, the state has increased health insurance as well as TRS. And so health insurance is going from $22,620 a year to $23,220. So that's $600 extra a year per covered person that we will have to take on. Yep. And then also TRS. TRS is currently 21.91. It's going to 22.32 for next year. So that's another increase. Another one that we had to kind of situate in the budget was our GSBA risk management insurance. It wasn't a huge increase, but it still was close to $100,000. So that's something else we had to put in the budget. And so all of those increases, I just want to direct your attention back to the first page that you have there, or the expenditure page. If you notice the difference between our FY26 and our FY27 budget, even though all of those things are taking place, we really haven't increased it that drastically.
Less than $1 million.
Yes, sir. One other thing I want to talk about is our pre-K enrollment is currently really low, and I think we have mentioned that in the past. It's lower than what we've had in recent years. So we're still going to continue to watch that. If that does not kind of correct itself, we may have to consider collapsing a class. And so, but the position that will be presented will be absorbed by the literacy coaches.
So how many short are we?
I don't have the numbers right offhand, but I can get those to
We-
you.
The Jessup schools were the worst. I think Scriven is full. Odom was close to being full. It was the 3 Jessup schools that had low enrollment. Yeah. So what we'll do is, once we hire the literacy coaches, more than likely that will open up a teaching slot, and we will evaluate at that time, and if we need to collapse a pre-K class, then we'll move the pre-K teacher around and let them take one of those teaching slots. So we don't want anyone to lose their job, so.
And so like I said, by the next board meeting, hopefully we'll have our QBE allotment sheet. We have the midterm allotment sheet for FY26, but we don't have the initial for FY27. And again, that will give us a good amount to see where we're at as far as projected revenue. Another thing that I've been working really close on is projecting our fund balance for next year. And so what you have to do is you have to project the remaining expenditures as well as remaining revenue for the rest of the year. And I'm happy to report that we will be able to increase the fund balance. And so we're looking at starting the ending fund balance of this year, June 30th, which will be the beginning for July 1st, will be about right at $15.9 million.
Good. So with all the increases that the state has given us that we have to do, our budget will only increase less than $1 million.
That's currently what we're
As
looking
the
at right now
as
with the
the projection.
preliminary.
It's the
We
projection.
still have several more meetings to discuss, but yes.
If we realize that we've missed 2 teachers, that's
Yeah.
$200,000
Yeah.
by the time you add all the benefits. So we're going to go person by person a couple more times before we present the final numbers.
Because when a person resigns, you take them out of your budget, but you also have to put in a vacancy. And you're putting in a vacancy based on an estimated teaching degree, years of service. And so we kind of budget on the higher end there with like maybe somebody that has a specialist with 10 years. When we actually fill that spot, it might come down lower. Or if they have a doctorate, it's going to be higher. So just, it's a little bit of wiggle room there. But anyway, I wanted to give you that information. And again, so next board meeting, hopefully we'll have the same thing with revenue, and we'll continue our discussions. Do y'all have any questions?
If I remember right,
Uh,
if I remember right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison.
The Wayne County BOE will enter into executive session to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee, or to interview applicants for the position of the superintendent, as described in OCGA 50-14-3. Other matters considered or discussed may include negotiations, land, real estate appeals, school safety plans, and legal matters. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Mosley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yarborough?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniels?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
No, I don't want to be in.
Do I have a motion to enter back into open session?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Mosley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yarborough?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Personnel recommendations for May 12th, 2026. Certified recommendations, Susan Baum, Martha Puckett Middle School. Matthew Morris, Wayne County High School. Nicholas Petrowski, Wayne County High School. Benny Ratliff, Martha Puckett Middle School. Certified transfers, Jessica Abad from Martha Puckett Middle School Assistant Principal to Principal. Ursula Lightsey from Jessup Elementary School Teacher to Assistant Principal. Shannon Popple, Scriven Elementary School Custodian to School Food Nutrition. Certified resignations, Reagan Gibbon, Central Office. Gay Robertson, Wayne County High School. Classified recommendations, Paula Christian, Transportation 50% and School Food Services 50%. Riley Dennison, Jessup Elementary School. Heidi Thomas, Wayne County High School. Classified transfers, Tammy Allen from Wayne County High School to Martha Ross Smith Elementary School. Sherry Kilpatrick from Scriven Elementary School to Arthur Williams Middle School. Serlin Venegas from Wayne County High School to Martha Ross Smith Elementary School. Classified resignations, Taylor Owens, Jessup Elementary School. Cheryl Spires, James E. Bacon Elementary School. Abigail Watson, Odom Elementary School. Do I have a motion to approve the personnel recommendations as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mrs. Mosley?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wise?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yarborough?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Daniel?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Harris?
We're just down to the nitty gritty. I wish the best for all of our graduates. I know when I taught for 30 years, there was always a few right there at the end that was doing their best to earn that last little bit of credit, and I hope they do. It's a long time, 12 years, and then get right there and miss it by just a touch. So I hope all that works out for them, and best of luck to them.
Ms. Daniel?
Well, I don't have much to say tonight. The only thing I have to say is, Lord, have mercy.
Mr. Yarborough?
I've said plenty. I'll say what I always say, go Jackets.
Mr. Wise?
No, ma'am.
I want to congratulate all of our retirees, and I hope they have
That's right.
just a wonderful retirement. Ms. Williams?
Couple of reminders about year-end events. Thursday night at 6 p.m. for board members is CTAE night. Next week, we have the honor cording ceremony at 6 p.m. On Tuesday. Thursday is scholarship night at 7 p.m., and then graduation is Friday night. I had the opportunity to go to the migrant family meeting last night for just a few minutes at James E. Bacon. I think there were around 250 people in attendance. They gave out 103 certificates to the students from age P3, because they give them little packets to do at home for the kids that are not old enough to be in school yet, all the way up to the 12th grade. I believe they said that we were going to have either 6 or 7 graduates this year that are part of the migrant program. One of them is planning on going into the Army, but some of the information shared, we do have one graduate that's receiving a college scholarship for soccer that's part of the migrant program as well. We had 78 students that are in the migrant program make at least 100% annual typical growth on their iReady reading and math scores. But then we had 7 students that had between 500% to 900% annual typical growth on their iReady. So the 2 migrant specialists are really working hard, working with those students, and it's making a big, big difference. So, and that's all I have.
There being no further business, I declare this meeting adjourned.